on the table I have my big box that I cut stuff out while I'm sitting on the couch and watching TV with my husband, and there's magazines and so forth that I'm looking through. If I find something in them, then I cut them out and I throw them in this box. If it's something small and little, then I throw it in this box, my little cigar box here, since they're tiny pieces. And I've been, gluing some on this box for, I think, like 15 years or something. So this is where I keep my collage bits. So I'm not cutting out all of our collage bits that we're using today. Today, there are things that I've been collecting over a period of time. So it's a good thing to do instead of, if you're ever watching television or waiting for somebody, you can cut stuff out and throw it in your box for later. These little things that fall out of the magazine, save those because they're just like the cereal boxes. They're kind of a sturdy cardboard, so you can cut those out to use them for your base for your ATCs. Again, here's my studio book where I write notes for stuff that works and stuff that doesn't work. Wax paper, whenever you're doing collaging, if you put your wax paper on top of what you're collaging and then rub it down, you don't get glue that pops out the edges of what you're gluing, sticking to other things and your fingers and stuff. Okay, then we have our water, of course. Now I got all three of these out because they're all things that you can use to do your collaging. The matte medium Goldens is thicker than the matte medium Liquitex has in the bigger bottle. This one's not as sticky, and it really, to me, works better for painting and doing layers in between your paintings than it does for actual collaging, but it's cheaper than the Goldens and the Mod Podge. The Mod Podge is, I think, probably the superior, sounds funny to say, but Mod Podge is the superior collaging agent. And you can choose whether you want matte finish, which is not shiny, or the glossy or satin finish. I prefer not shiny, so I like using the matte Mod Podge. But if all you have is Elmer's glue, that works too. That's fine. Okay, so back here we have our paper towels and all of our little cards that we cut out for the ATC size. The cereal boxes, I've just sewed one side, and then we have the other side that is the cardboard box. If you don't like working on the smaller size of the ATCs, then, because sometimes that can be challenging since you have to find small parts for your collages, you could always use a 5x7. This one's matte board, but you can cut your pieces to be 5x7. It's a little bit easier to find collage pieces from magazines that are not too big for your ATC size. It's kind of a challenge with the ATCs because you have to really limit yourself and really do what you need to do and then not overdo it. So here I have just a whole bunch of piles of images that I've kind of categorized. These are all rhythm. These are all emphasis. There's one thing. This one's transition, a pile of transition ones. These are all just design elements, variation. Then I have some objects that I've cut out that I just start playing with, looking at what things go together. So I took the eye, the branch that's crushed the roof, one leg and one spoon for another leg. Here's the other leg that actually goes with this one, and instead I replaced it with a whale. And then a woman on a horse jumping for the upper part of the body. Here's one that's a face with a different eye and some hands. This one's a different lady's legs, a building for her body, and then another woman's arms. So your word for the day is juxtapose.
Juxtaposed means a technique that you use to put one picture on top of another and it changes the meaning of the whole piece. So for example, like the face with a different eye and fingers and so forth will create a different meaning than the pieces will separate from one another.
In another way to give us some symbolism. So here I have, this was one piece is a hand with money. This was a separate thing with the clothespin, and then this is a separate thing that is the artist palette. So clipping those three things together will make a unit of something that's interesting as a collage symbol. Okay, so back here I have kind of my plan for the day that you'll see later, where I have sort of some ideas of things that would kind of go together for the different principles of design. And then I have my pile of stuff here that I'm going to arrange and kind of get some ideas of before I start. And then I'll film that with you. Oh, I forgot to tell you about this. This is a brayer, and it kind of good for rolling down your collage items so that you don't have any corners sticking up. If you don't have one of these, just use the back side of a spoon or a stick that's flat. Something that will help you keep all of your collage pieces all as air bubble free as possible. This is for cleaning off glued on fingers so that your fingers don't get to be a sticky mess. Pen and pencil are always helpful if you want to draw on the back side like I did with the cat head. I drew on the excess of the cat head on the back, so I had it the same size as the card before I cut the rest of the cat head that we don't need. So it's the right size. So that's what your pencil and pen are kind of good to have around for. And I think that's it. Okay, let's get started. Okay, I forgot to mention that it's not a good idea to eat and drink things while you're making artwork, especially drinking things and having a brush with water near each other. So here's a good example of what would be a problem for me if I started right now. Here's my brushes, here's my water, here's my chai tea. If I wasn't careful, I could easily dip my brush in the tea instead of the water. So this should not be anywhere near this.